And we are back. What's going on, y'all? I appreciate the views. Thank you so much. I'm back talking about the word self. What's up? We've already done act, travel, and now we're on to self. What it may mean to you. You know, just a little bit of a, perspective, my perspective, and an eye-opener. Just waiting for some more people to come in. If you know somebody, tell them to tap in. I just want to thank my higher self for giving me the ability to, give out this, to share my perspective. So I'm really, truly thankful. It's a lot of words out there that we don't take heed to. We take advantage of the things we may say. We take advantage of what we, the things that we go through in life. And we just keep on going. Like nothing happened. Then we find ourselves doing a lot of disagreeable things and get lost in the path. So the word self was, started to being used in about 1800. And then it started to peak around like 1924 in a way. So there wasn't a lot of, I could say, if you go back into those times, there was a lot of selfless acts, but as far as focusing on yourself, being into yourself, elevating within self, it wasn't spoken of because it was actually more of a sacred thing to do, sacred to be within self, to take care of yourself, to cure yourself, to help yourself, to maintenance yourself. Doing this for me, not doing it for, other people. Shout out for 29 Dimensions for my copper. This shit is dope. It literally does help me elevate higher. Tap into him, y'all. He's really good at what he does. Self is a person. Excuse me. Self, a person's essential being that distinguishes from others, especially considered as an object of introspective. It's introspective. I'm just gonna let my tongue roll because it looks like it ain't gonna let me talk. But just having introspection. Okay, I'm not starting a live over. Work with me. To look back, we're just gonna say that introspection. And within having your reflexive actions. Wow, what's going on with me? So, being self means, taking action. You know how when you apply for a job, they'll be like, are you a self-starter? Do you, are you doing things for yourself? Do you have a group of people? Are you able to work alone or with the group? Or Do you like to work as a team or do you like to work individually? And we have to be considerate about, exactly how they ask those questions. Not really like, when you apply for a job, but just, within, life itself. When we're taking on certain tasks, when we're going through things in life, when we're struggling, the most, is it the self that helps or is it the people or the family members that help? Self strengthens you. It doesn't weaken you. We have to know when we on these self journeys and we going through stuff by ourselves, we always be like, you ain't walked in my shoes. You ain't never been through what I've been through. A lot of people go through similar things, but they ain't been through what you've been through. It's a total different, outcome, and it's a total different, struggle, even though it may seem similar. Some people could, not even make it through their struggle because their self wasn't strong enough. Or they didn't sit back and sit in self and gain strength. Observe the things that they're going through so they can gain knowledge and they can be wise. They can become very distractive and very easily persuaded, throughout these things. And we all know that people have vices. They go through, let's say like peer pressure, addiction to anything and everything. You could be addicted to this, live. You can be addicted to Facebook. You get addicted to ordering stuff online, eating candy. Eating, it's everything, addiction is everything. Hey, so, it's okay to be selfless, but you don't want to lose yourself when you're trying to help any and everybody. We have to retain our energy, and we got to remember that it's not about, being helpful to everybody. You can't help everybody if you don't help yourself. Who you gonna help? Can't help nobody if you ain't helping yourself. If you're weak, then that other person that you're trying to help is going to get weaker and weaker if they was weaker than you. You have to be able to gain. You have to have the courage, the understanding of what you're going through. So therefore, you can be a stronger individual throughout the things that you want to accomplish in life. This example came to me earlier. It was about, Santa Claus. Santa Claus, he had the shed, or, what you call it? The sleigh. The shed. He had the sleigh. But without the elves helping him, right, you can't pour into an empty cup. Right, you can't pour out into an empty cup. Fact. Santa Claus, he had the car. Seb, you got a car, right? But you ain't got no gas money to put into that car. He had the elves. Without the elves, there wouldn't be no toys built. And you got to remember what an elf is. An elf is a helper. An elf is a doer. An elf is a beard. And not only that they have the joy of doing it for, the people around the world, but they love making toys. They love making things that they can give because they've already given to themselves. They spent time with themselves. Anything that they build or help with, they spent time with it. They spent time. They put, they put love, happiness, and joy. Even in reality, even though, we feel like Santa Claus and the elves are a myth, it makes sense when you start looking at the story. Without the elves, Santa Claus wouldn't even be able to, fly around and share those pretty presents that people long for or wish for. when we're thinking about ourselves in reality, from that analogy, it's like, I don't take enough time with me. I'm worn out. I'm confused. Sometimes I can't remember stuff. Like, oh, I need a drink. I can't just, people just can't get focused because they so focused on everything else outside the world aside and, accept themselves. And sometimes people have a hard time accepting themselves. That goes into, wearing, making your face up. Thinking that, all of the physical facets in life make you beautiful. Or it can make you better. Steroids. Make you get real big muscles. Stuff like that. But you can build yourself. You can become stronger if you focus on inside of yourself. Start working out. Build your own muscle. You don't need to go get them little, what do you call them, BBLs and stuff. Build your own little shape. Understand that everybody ain't gonna look the same. You ain't gonna look like everybody. Why you want to be and look like everybody? There's no individuality at all. When you're doing things for yourself, you own yourself kind of accountable. And you can't blame nobody for the struggles, nobody for, downfalls, for your fuck ups, your mess ups. You can't blame nobody, but okay. So you got to come back to the forefront. And that means reality smacked you upside your head a couple times, like, now you was just being, you was getting in the way of things. When you are in the way of yourself, you start to have a lot of disagreeable acts come into place. Your path becomes disagreeable. And not saying that all disagreeable things are wrong, but you are off course. You are out of your straight path. You're no longer focused. It's like going all around, and sometimes you don't know what you want to do. You start to plan something, you start it, then you can't finish it. We've already touched on travel. And I'm sorry, y'all, I was not feeling good last week. But, hey, I was not feeling good last week. But I'm feeling a lot better because I need to focus on myself. When it is self, it's not that you're going through a bad spell. This is when you start to focus on the agreeable things. When you're going through the agreeable things in life, first off, you want to start to focus on yourself. Maybe, oh, why did this happen? Maybe I need to change this, change that. Be in accordance with yourself. Being in accordance with yourself is basically tapping into your higher self. Knowing better, at a point. Because when you running around here like you a toddler and you don't know better, it's kind of like, oh yeah, it ain't no slap on the wrist. Who's gonna continue to baby you whenever you go through something all the time? Not gonna be baby when you go out into that world. It's no longer, oh, my mama or my daddy. Which really and truly it was never your mama and your daddy, and it was never your family either. Because when you growing up, you got chores, you start to hold yourself accountable. You want to look nice, you want nice things because of you. You want to wash your face and brush your teeth because of you. Not because somebody else said so. You want to get good grades, not because somebody else said so. All those things. Self is to be considerate of your thoughts. And when you focus on yourself, You can be considerate of your thoughts and your truth, and then you can produce a great act. Producing a great act allows you to be truthful to yourself. Same to you. Thank you. Peace and divine. You can be truthful to yourself. Nothing's really going to get away in yourself when you're in the most high spirited. When you know SCELF. If you don't, then you're going to be acting. Every time you go into different spaces and different places, you're going to portray as to be something or someone that you never was at any time, any given time. The only way that you kind of feel like that you yourself is probably at home. Sometimes some people can't even be their self in their own home. And I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate to that. That you'll get either shut down. A lot of parents, they sit in their car a long time after they get off work. Might, smoking a cigarette or, some weed or something, or have a shot or something, like their vice or whatever that can cope or push down push their self down so they can be able to handle other things around. Know what you can handle. And if whatever's around you can't handle, you might want to step back and reevaluate some things. Not get rid of your kids, but there's ways for you to, become self in a space where you're comfortable and you're able to elevate. Even if you feel like you're trapped in a situation that you feel like somebody may be holding you captive, or you're like, this ain't right. Like, how did I get here? And you're like, I ain't liking this. But it's up to you to sit back and take the time to understand how you got there, what you put yourself through, what you've been through, your emotions. Because it's about holding yourself accountable to what you've been through. We got, you got, what do you call them? Like superheroes. What else I was saying? Activists, like the DC and the Marvels. The revolutionaries, they got so much power and so much of a gift that if they was, selfish to hold all that energy and that power in, they basically, would be hurting themselves or killing themselves inside trying to hold in all that power. Because it'd be too much for them to obtain. It's like they thinking too much, or they letting so much build inside to where when it comes to a time that they have to release, it'll be a lot. It'll be too much. Because now you're putting out a lot of energy all at one time, and people don't understand, like, what the heck? Like, what's wrong with you? You crazy. But all alone, it's like, oh, I've been having this power. I've been, having this knowledge. It's just, I'm throwing it out there now. Some things can't be too much, either for you or for the people that are around you. Center yourself. Make sure that it's you that understand the power within you so you can project it. Because if not, you can easily get out of control. And some people probably don't want to be around you. You have to go inside and rebuild yourself, and you can start to destruct, the things around in your home. Things can be out of place, or some things will no longer hold a place in your life. You can fall in love with somebody and they could be the best thing for you. But if you don't realize it in yourself that you see within them, then basically you can ruin that whole good thing, and good things happens in your life all the time. So be accountable of yourself. Know your strengths. Know your weaknesses. build on top of your strengths, and learn from your weaknesses. Because if not, then you will continue to be all out of whack. So I feel that if you were to keep all the powers inside of you and your gifts inside of you, it's kind of like, and I don't want to say this, but it's really like being foolish. Being foolish to, hold all that wisdom in. And it's like, oh, I got all this knowledge, but you're not sharing it. It's like, okay, well, now you're becoming worthless. If you have, children, and you're supposed to be like a professor or the smart one or whatever, but you're not sharing the knowledge that you have into your kids, or giving them, or helping them with their powers. Say, like, if you got an ADHD kid and you take them to the doctor and they try to put them on medicine, you're basically helping them get rid of their power of thinking fast, or being bored too fast and wanting new things to learn and build on every second or every minute, every chance that they get. That is one of the greatest things that you can ever ever have within yourself. Because if you don't, it's like, how can I learn? How can I be? Not learning and being. And then if you start to push things away, you start to eventually kill them inside, or kill yourself inside. Because it is of you. The elves of, Santa Claus was a lot of hymns. The self was him, was a lot of him. It was his, it was him without ego matter. When you no longer have that ego, you can really actually hold yourself accountable within yourself. You can build. You can be greater. You can live without fear. You can obtain things that you thought that you never could. You can manifest things that you always wanted in life and couldn't quite not get to. You didn't understand why you couldn't get to it. Or you was like, why me? Why are these things happening? Why am I going through, this and this and that? But you could never understand it because the ego got in the way. Ego was not of self. It's a disagreeable act. It's disagreeable. It's going to block you. You're going to have a blockage between you and your higher self. Not able to, you might want to get rid of that ego. Because if you don't, then it's going to be all bad, from there. So, be mindful of yourself. That yourself is only here to help you. Yourself is only here to build you, strengthen you. Keep in mind that this physical is just an avatar of you living in an experience. But once you lose yourself and you forget your purpose and your path, then you will find yourself again, like I said, on a disagreeable path. Okay? When you have supreme knowledge and power, don't be arrogant. Take in consideration that arrogance knows nothing, and they still shall be taught from the wise. For the limits of knowledge in any field has never been set, and no one has never reached them. Wisdom is rarer than emeralds, and yet they are found in grindstones. Be diligent as long as you live, or you will find yourself down a lot of disagreeable paths. Do not misuse your time while following your heart, for it is offensive to the soul to waste one's time. You have to have self-control. Self-control is to be grounded. You have to be focused within the light in yourself and bring it out. If you don't, then you will be dark. You will be a dark matter. It's not bad to be a dark matter, but understand what the real truth of dark matter is. It is something of nothing, and then you can project yourself into light to have an identity, So with this experience that you go through in life, that you only hold your spirit is only within your avatar. You're experiencing things that you never heard, you never seen, or you never experienced before. And that's, you never felt it. It's like when you try to feel, when you ain't never felt something before, that involves within self, because then you're trying to accomplish something that you never experienced. And that's being selfless. You can be selfish, but remember, you also don't want to be too selfish. So focus on yourself. I went through the word of act, meaning understanding that you do have agreeable and disagreeable acts when you're projecting yourself out into the world and what you may think that you perceive yourself. Traveling in the midst of your thoughts, your passions, your emotions, accomplishing goals that you think that's so far reached that it'll never happen because of your past or because of your family, or you've seen a lot of failure in your life. Remember, it is self. So you have to act in a way that you want to be through your true self, your higher self, your higher being. So you can travel into places that you've never been to. And that's all through self. Like I said before, thank you so much for the most higher self of me to give me the opportunity to give you guys my perspective on the word self. Y'all can always reach out to me. Thank you for viewing and listening and watching. Peace out.